He stood on this spot and looked in at the gilded barge and the strange gold statue of the god Amun, whose eyes met his. Alexander stepped forward and asked his questions. The answer was delivered by the priests, written on papyrus, literally a letter from heaven. As they gave it to him, they greeted him in Greek as the Son of God. That was all he needed to hear. I imagine Alexander and Hephaestion and their friends celebrated that night. Like all Macedonians, they loved a good party. But was it all just a piece of cynical manipulation to legitimize him in Egyptian eyes? To this day, no one knows.
He may not have believed that he was literally the Son of God, but this was a man obsessed with his own myth, creating it as he went along. And what happened here surely must have appealed to his sense of destiny.
Alexander now hurried back to rejoin the army. I suppose the Siwa episode tells us that Alexander always journeyed with one eye on the here and now, and the other on eternity. He was an opportunist and a visionary rolled into one, which made him very unpredictable and dangerous. I think he took the direct route east to the Nile, an epic journey in its own right. And it's in one of the lonely oases on this route that we found the first evidence of Alexander as God King.
As far as you can see, because it's mostly damaged, you will see the inscription here is badly eroded. You can still see a certain cartouche here. The cartouche is that oval shape that contains the name of an Egyptian king. And of course, Alexander, he is being considered an Egyptian king. It would have what we call sari, that's the goose, that represents the sign.
Yes. That's his head, his neck and his
head,
yeah.
And then the sign of the sun would have been here on top of it. So it would be the son of the good ray, then another cartouche that will have his name. You can just manage to see some traces saying Alexandros.
And how far did all this go to his head? I suspect it's not a question we can answer in 20th century terms. But now, there need be no limit on his ambitions.
Alexander the Great was one of these characters that sometimes he does things that looks out of the normal for normal persons like you and me. But Alexander was not a normal person. He's one of these people who lived very, very short, but he left his stamp not only on the history of ancient times, but on the history of mankind.
Soon, on the walls of the greatest Egyptian temples, he would be shown like the pharaohs of the past, the successor of Khufu, Seti, and Ramses the Great. And in Luxor, in the Holy of Holies, the 24-year-old Macedonian appears honoring his father Amun and pouring libations over the phallus of the god Min. Son of Amun, beloved of Ra, king of the two lands, Alexander. He'd come a long way from his rugged northern land, but he'd only just begun. Ahead lay Persia.